let's go on to the tight end position. You ready? Ready for tight ends?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you sure?
I'm super ready.
I don't believe you.
We're talking about Start That Man. We got our boy Pat FreierMuth, also known as Heath Miller.
The Muth.
The Muth. Yeah, I mean, what else do you got to say? His name's Pat. His name's Pat FreierMuth.
Dude, that's the same name as our dad.
Yeah, the same as my middle name. Pat FreierMuth. I mean, tight end of the year?
I mean, do you like it, dude, or what? You're the residential Steelers fan.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We're playing primetime Sunday night against the Chargers. It's in LA, but that's pretty much home field advantage for the Steelers because I don't know. It doesn't matter who the I know he had a rough week this past week with Mason Rudolph at quarterback, but I still think that Pat FreierMuth is a solid play. There just wasn't a lot going on points-wise this past week. We tied at 16 to the Lions. I don't know what happened. The game was weird. I know Pat FreierMuth did have a fumble on one play, but I think he bounces back. Besides that fumble, he's been pretty damn consistent.
I mean, yeah, even with Mason Rudolph at the helm for the quarterback position for the Steelers because Big Ben went down to COVID, FreierMuth still saw 9 targets.
Yeah.
I mean, and as a tight end, if you're telling me I'm going to start a tight end, he's going to get me 9 targets, I'm starting that tight end every single week because
we're talking about
it's
Jalen
hard.
Waddle with 9 targets.
It's hard to get 9 targets, especially from the tight end position. And FreierMuth's been solid, for the most part. Obviously, he had a down game last week with the fumble, but I mean, outside of that, he's been solid. And he's a big body red zone weapon when they get in close for this offense. Claypool's still banged up, Juju's out. Ebron's there, but I think Ebron's kind of an afterthought for this offense. It's a good matchup on paper for Pat FreierMuth here. The Chargers have allowed the second most receiving touchdowns to the tight end position. Like I just said, when they get in close, they do look for FreierMuth in the red zone. He had that 2-touchdown game back on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago. So I think he gets back on track. He's getting targeted. Yeah, like me some Pat FreierMuth this week.
Yeah. Pat FreierMuth, start that man.
Heath Luth.
By the way, in Dynasty, I had him on my taxi squad spot all year, and last week was the first week I decided to pull him out and start him.
You gonna start him again this week?
Yeah.
Nice.
Come on, dude.
Fuck it, send it in.
Fuck it, send it in.
Fuck it, send it in.
All right, let's go on. Hello there. Hey, listen, right now, I know we talk about them a lot, but Underdog Fantasy has a really good deal right now. It's a player pick'em app. It's a DFS app. It's very similar to DraftKings or FanDuel, but this is better. It's brand new, very easy to use interface. But if you download the app right now and use promo code AVG, they used to hook up with $10 with your first deposit. Right now, they're matching you up to $100. So if you put $100 in the app right now on your first deposit, you will get an extra $100 to play around with. They got player pick'ems. You can even do a private match inside Underdog Fantasy. It's pretty dope. So you can challenge people and whatnot. You don't have to maintain a team for all year. So you can just draft your team, play that week, draft the next team next week. You could do it daily in a Thursday night game as well. So go check it out. Tons of prizes. Free $100. Come on, sign up. It's the best. And use promo code AVG. Now back to your video. On to the next one here. We got Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold is fully on the juice. Jacksonville Jaguars juiced up. Jan Arnold. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about this has kind of been our low-key tight end we talk about almost every week, but I think Dan Arnold's always a pretty safe start as far as tight end positions go compared to a lot of these guys. You have people reaching and at some weeks playing like CJ Uzoma. Why? Because here's the thing is sorry.
Why?
Yeah, but I mean, what are you doing starting CJ Uzoma when you can go and grab Dan Arnold and start him?
Yeah. I think I have a secret man crush on Dan Arnold. I think it's just because, when he got traded there, we were talking about him back, hey, go grab him. I always say.
Dan Arnold was like,
you want to fuck with my money, huh?
When you go trade for somebody like that, you're obviously going to utilize him. And he's been the go-to guy for them. I mean, in the last 5 weeks, he's led the Jaguars in targets, 60 or more receiving yards in 4 of those 5 games. A safe floor. I mean, the last 3 weeks, 10 or more PPR points. And it's just crazy because he's getting it done. If you're starting him, he's been getting it done for you with a safe floor. And he hasn't even found the end zone yet. So if he finds the end zone, eventually you got to think he will if Trevor Lawrence could just figure it out. But, 60 or more receiving yards in 4 of his last 5 games. Just a safe floor for a guy like Dan Arnold, especially for the tight end position. Yeah, I love Dan Arnold. Going forward, I think he's a great, you could probably just set it and forget it at this point. Because the numbers are just there. He seems to be Trevor Lawrence's go-to guy that he's leaning on. Like you said, rookie quarterback's best friend.
Tight end.
Tight end, baby.
Because it's reliable. You don't have to worry about,
we
right.
talk about Dan
got a
Arnold.
bigger catch window.
Yeah, we always say, he's not really like a typical tight end. Like, he's basically a Gesicki. He's the Jaguars' version of Mike Gesicki. He's just a big body, oversized wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Dan Arnold on 68% of snaps, more than James Robinson. Let's go on to our next tight end position. We got our boy, Zach Ertz. And what are we saying? We're going to say sit that boy, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to sit this boy.
We've been kind of hyping up Zach Ertz this year a little bit. So why are you telling everybody to sit him?
It's just because, you got Kyler banged up. We don't know if he's going to play yet with the ankle injury. Colt McCoy's banged up as well. So we could be potentially down to the third string quarterback here. They're traveling to Seattle. I always feel like playing in Seattle is a tough matchup. I like to think that Seattle's defense or Seattle as a whole will bounce back after a tough loss to the Packers last week. But, there's just no upside there. 3-4 catches every game, but, the yardage isn't really there. I'd be playing a guy like Dan Arnold, FreierMuth. Obviously, those are why those guys are our starts over a guy like Zach Ertz. So, it just depending on who your options are, I would be trying to find other players to play over Zach Ertz this week.
Yeah. Zach Ertz a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Let's go on to the next one here. We got our boy Jared Cook. If you were thinking about Jared Cook starting him, don't. I don't think I ever felt comfortable starting Jared Cook this year. I think someone sent me a trade actually for Jared Cook, and I was like, get this out of my freaking face. I hate this.
Yeah, I don't understand. A lot of people I think I tried trading somebody. So in one of my leagues, I have Hawkinson and Dan Arnold. And like I said, I just feel comfortable with the safe floor that Dan Arnold's been doing as of late and going forward. So I was like, all right, let me try to sell the name value of Hawkinson. So I went to the guy who had Jared Cook. I was like, hey, I'll trade you Hawkinson. And I can't remember what the trade was, but Hawkinson and a player for another player. And he was like, oh, I don't need Hawkinson. I got Jared Cook. And in my head, I'm thinking what? You feel good playing Jared Cook every week? What? I was going to give you TJ Hawkinson. But I just don't like Jared Cook. You got Donald Parham there, the other rookie tight end, who I think is going to be the future for the Los Angeles Chargers. If you're in a dynasty league and Donald Parham's out on the waiver wire or you can get him on a trade, I would definitely be trying to dial up and get him on my team because, him and Herbert going forward should be a nice connection. But, yeah, speaking of Jared Cook, I just don't like it. Under 50 yards basically every single game except for 2. And even in the games where he scores touchdowns, it's just like I said, Donald Parham's stealing touchdowns. You got Mike Williams. You got
there's a lot
Keenan
of weapons
Allen,
there.
Austin Eckler. It's just, I don't know. I just don't see too much upside. You're either going to get, 12 points from him or you're going to get 4 points from him. So it's just what do you get? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's just too, it's the inconsistency.
It's the inconsistency for me as well. Jared Cook, not Jared Cook. I said Cook. Jared Cook.
Beetlejuice's
Sit
dad.
that boy.
Did he look like Beetlejuice?
Oh my God. I was thinking of the other Beetlejuice, but now, yeah, I guess. That's fine.
If you don't know who Beetlejuice is, just Google Beetlejuice.
Dude, you can't say that.
And look at Jared Cook and put their pictures together, and that looks like his dad. Or they'd be like brothers or something. I don't know. They look...
Bro.
It's I know.
Mini
Beetlejuice and then mega Beetlejuice. They look exactly alike. It's so funny.
Okay, let's